Code 3 for a Cause Memorial Ride is a ride that's done every year. We start in Sacramento at the State Peace Officers Memorial, ride down the coast all the way down over 4 days to finish here at the Westminster Police Officers Memorial. It's an event that's done in remembrance of the officers who have gone before us and given the ultimate sacrifice by giving up their lives in the performance of their duties here at work, and just a chance for us to remember that and also generate some funds for our Memorial Foundation as well.
We're riding to remember our fallen heroes and their families.
Code 3 Memorial Ride is a fundraiser that we put together a few years ago to raise money for our Memorial Foundation, to support families of officers that were killed in the line of duty and for officers that were injured in the line of duty. Gives us a time to get together and to remember them, to remember the families, and to raise money for a good cause as well.
My favorite part is just seeing everybody come together for the cause. It's ultimately to raise the money for our police memorial, and but it also I like out of it is when you go up on some of these areas, you're in a vehicle and you're driving through or traveling, you just kind of whizzing up the road, and when you're following people on bikes, you're actually taking in and seeing things that you normally wouldn't see. So it's pretty scenic.
Least favorite part is when it's over. I mean, because we're so passionate about the whole thing and because we enjoy the entire process, when it's over with, you automatically start thinking about how can you make it that much more exciting, or how can you make it better the next year? How can you get more people to experience the same passion that you have for it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Why do I do this ride? When I started doing this ride 3 years ago, it was purely selfish reasons. I was approached by an officer regarding the ride, and being a cyclist, wanting to go down the coast of California was like, yeah, sign me up, I want to do that. But after that first ride, I kind of figured out what this is all about, and it's bringing me back more and more. I think police officers nowadays in our society, especially now, are really underappreciated, undervalued for what they do for us and for our society. And for those guys that have, paid the ultimate, it makes me really appreciate what they do or what they've done for me and for our community, keeping us safe. So, my focus now is completely different. I love this group of guys. I think if normal, everyday citizens would meet police officers and get to know them, I think they'd have a whole different perspective on who these people are. They're normal people, but that really care about where they live and taking care of people.
Support staff, each day we make sure that there's enough food and water in each of the vehicles for the 3 different teams that we have. And then throughout the day we stop, refill their water, we make lunch for them. Anything that they need we'll try and get. So each day the support staff comes together at the end of the ride or the next morning, go to the grocery store, get new bananas, apples, whatever they need, and make sure we have what they need to make it through the day for the rides.
The ride, what the ride means to me, it's something that I'm very passionate about. It gives me an opportunity to do something for the families. When families are in a situation like that, it's easy for us to feel sorry for them and to do something at the initiation of the traumatic event that they're going through. But this is something that we can continue to do periodically throughout the rest of our careers by raising money for the foundation to help them and to help their kids, the rest of their families, and to help the officers that were injured in the line of duty as well. So it's something that I'm very passionate about. It just gives me an opportunity to give back a little bit.
Well, it's kind of a more of a emotional, I guess, side of it. Is at the beginning, first day of the ride, we go to the state memorial, and we gather there and remember that. It's the officers that gave their lives. It's pretty emotional. I don't want to say it's the least favorite, but it's the part that makes you kind of hits home and remembers what they gave.
What's my favorite part of the ride? That's kind of a difficult question because being on the bike and cycling through some of the most gorgeous parts of California coast is fantastic. But hanging out with the officers afterwards in the evening, kind of discussing what you did on the ride, is just fun. And again, seeing police officers out of uniform, enjoying life, you get to see, hey, they're normal people just like everybody else, and that's really fun. So, if I can do this every single year, I would.
I'm not going to say that it's an easy ride. I mean, there's a lot of mileage put in. There's a lot of climbing that's done throughout the course, depending on what leg you're riding. So you have to be physically prepared for it. There's a lot of time, spent riding. There's a lot of time spent in the saddle. Just acclimatizing your body to being in that position and putting in that amount of time and that amount of mileage throughout the course of the 4 days.
I prepare trying to get in some training rides and go on rides. The months leading up to, I'll go ride with other officers, with other riders who are going on the actual ride with us. We go out, we do short training rides. I'll go out on my own. I'll do those things. Just try to prepare myself and make sure that I'm able to make it through the ride every year.
One of the things that I'm most nervous of is just my training and to see if it's paid off. I've definitely tried to get in as many rides as I can for as long as I can, hoping that it will work.
The work that goes into making this ride happen is actually unbelievable. Several months of planning. Even though you would think, well, we've done it a few years, every year there's little things that come up that, logistically, there's a lot that has to happen. I mean, you're talking moving 15 to 20 people and bicycles and equipment and 4 days worth of gear all the way to Northern California, and then making sure that everybody gets safely back down here to Southern California while riding. So, logistics, the fundraising, the training that goes into it, there's just a lot going on behind the scenes to make this actually happen every year.
You have to coordinate hotels at all the different stops that we make on each night. You have to coordinate vehicles, get enough vehicles for the amount of riders and support staff that's going. Throughout the time before up to the event, we'll do fundraisers, bake sales, try and raise money for the memorial, for the cause.
Initially, when we first started doing it, it was a lot of work because there wasn't a whole lot of people involved in it. As the years have gone by, we have grown, and there's a lot more people involved in the logistics of it. So to answer the question, there is a lot of work that's involved, but as people have come on board with this fundraiser, they've developed the same kind of passion that I have. Everyone that's involved in this is very passionate about the Memorial Foundation and the event and everything that we're doing. So it's not really hard work. There is a lot of work that's involved, but it's not really hard work because it's something that we enjoy doing.
What's the least favorite part? I would probably say just having to get up in the morning. There's some early mornings, I've never been the best as far as sleeping in hotels and being in a different hotel every single night. I come home and I'm pretty tired from this, but the trade-off of what I get out of it far exceeds that little downside. This ride is really important to me. It's actually grown to be important because, again, this is my way of showing respect to officers that really don't get appreciated. Again, I think they're very undervalued and looked down upon, unfortunately, by most people in community. That's just why I keep on coming back, because I at least want to keep a connection with these guys.
Favorite part of the ride is probably from the initiation of sending out that initial email towards the end of 1 year going into the next, preparing for the ride, I guess, is probably the best part for me. And then as the ride comes to a close, I think the climactic portion of the whole ride would be as we're riding into our memorial, reflecting on everything that we've prepared, everything that we've done leading up to that point, seeing all of the other people from the department, from the city, and the families, and just socializing with everyone during the memorial ceremony itself. It kind of puts the whole process in perspective, and it's really awesome.
I feel the ride's important because as we get caught up in our daily routines here at work, in our lives, I think sometimes it's very easy for us to forget about, those officers who've been killed in the line of duty or made that ultimate sacrifice. And by us doing this ride, it gives us the time to actually stop, take a step back from all of that, reflect on what we're here for, and to remember those officers. So without that, I think we would just get caught up in it, and as much as we don't want to, I think you might forget about those things. So when you have a chance to actually stop, take a step back, kind of just quiet all the noise around you and reflect on it, and it's a good thing. That's why it's important. That's why we do this.
It's important to me because in the 15 plus years that I've been here, I have experienced friends being killed in the line of duty. I've got friends from other agencies who have experienced the same thing, and I think it's almost like it's somewhat of a healing process for us, and like I mentioned before, a way to give back to the families. There is no way that we're going to be able to experience the pain that the family goes through on a daily basis. So the trials and everything that we go through in the planning process, and the small amount of pain that we go through on the ride physically as we experience it during each leg doesn't even compare to what the families are going through. So it's a way for us to give back, and a way to just kind of experience that whole process with them, if that makes any sense.